American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Pervis, and this is American Football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Q. What's going on, Q?
What's going on, people?
All right, we're ready to get back into another one. The AFF podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can watch us visually here on YouTube. Wherever you listen to watch, be sure to subscribe, follow, and like us. Anyone who listens but doesn't hit that button, we know you're a hater, but that's okay. We're going to get on with the show anyways. All right, it's first down. We have a chance to, talk about other things in the world. What's going on with you, Q?
Not much, man. I did get to check out the ELF, man. You know, that's like that's the second league I like to watch all the time. So I checked out the ELF games. I seen some crazy stat on there, man. It was like some of the games that were played on Saturday, it was like a 36-point like deficit for all the games, at least.
Damn.
And I was like, that's ridiculous.
It's been like this year in the ELF, right? Like it's been a whole lot of blowouts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was like, well, this happens with new leagues and all this right here, and I was like, this should never happen in any league. Like 36 points.
Is it still? Do you still call it a new league if we're in year?
That's what I'm saying. Like y'all a few years in. I guess technically it's a new league if you counting a few years, like 3, 4 years, 5 years. Yeah, I guess it is in that case, but
I feel like isn't this the year that it's supposed to be like cementing? Like 4 and 5 is when you like.
It seems like it's one team. It seems like it's Rainfire and then everybody else. That's what it seemed like. Stuttgart looked pretty good though.
Yeah, but it's got to be some other teams. I just seen who put up 71 points on somebody the other day.
Yeah, Munich. I think Munich ran the score this weekend too.
Yeah,
it was a few teams that got up there like the past 50 burgers.
So Munich's done it twice. I've seen Munich put up 50 and a half and make a team quit a couple weeks ago. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess if you have a league with so many teams, it gets like that. Is that or
I think it's the rules. I think it's their rules like that. Their homegrown player rule and like local rule, I think is different. Like, I think it defeat it keeps the homegrown players from going to other teams. So they have to play whatever team is in their area. That's who they have to play with. So I don't know the difference fully, like as far as local player and homegrown player. I don't know how they.
I'll speak on it a little bit because I've been seeing that it's an issue online too. So we'll talk about it. Is that basically, let's just do like for example, if you live in Barcelona, you can't play for the Madrid Bravos. You can only play for Barcelona Dragons, and that makes you a local player. Now, if you live in Spain, you're homegrown, and you can play for one of those two franchises if you don't live in those two cities.
Gotcha.
So basically, if you're from a certain city, you have to play for that team, and I don't know why that's a bad thing, but it also does kind of negate the fact of like being like an EU import. Like if you go and play somewhere else, you have a better chance if you come from a different country or if you come from a country that doesn't have a team.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a local team, then you can't be held back by that local rule. And you have even like teams like, like the Barcelona Dragons who I don't know if they still playing. I mean,
they're getting work. Okay, they're getting worked out.
Yeah, so like you got guys that are playing on that team that just don't believe in the organization anymore. They can't go anywhere else because they're from Barcelona, and it's one of those things where I get why they did it for the league, like because they didn't want players just vacating. That what they didn't want is what you have in Finland, where people literally will move to go play on another team, because you got guys going all over the country to play different places. And I guess they didn't want that to happen. But on the flip side is when the teams really give the players what they're supposed to do resources wise, you end up with these like lopsided organizations. Because again, I'm not really into the ELF. You know, I keep my eye on it, just kind of knowing what's going on. But it looks to me that you have teams that don't know how to like really be organizations. Those are the teams that are getting like mollywopped because they don't understand how to cultivate and how to have a team atmosphere so they can have a quality product on the field. But then you have other teams, like you said, like Rainfire, Munich. I don't even know, but I assume Vienna is still doing their thing.
Oh yeah, they still they pretty good. Kari partying and balling down there too, man. Kari balling up there, man. Yeah, he doing anything.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I heard they got a little Finnish delegation out there. So like organizations like that, like they don't have a problem with these rules because they've been developing. They know, or they at least know how. Like the Munich Ravens, that's a team that pretty much started from nothing. They're not really related to the GFL counterparts, but they have a lot of smart people in the right place. So the organization is solid. Well, you have teams. I don't know how that Hungary team is up, what they're doing. I know that the Barcelona team isn't great. The Milano Seaman I always thought it was a good organization, but I don't think it's translating to wins. Something like that happens. I mean, and things just go that way. But I also think that they just went too big too fast.
Yeah, they jumped out there, and you know, it's some quality games, but it's times where it's like, whoa. Man, I'll spend a lot of money for this right here, but it's, you know, it is what it is. It's good to watch either way.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I did want to ask you about the Olympics. Your thought about the Olympics, because the Olympics have started technically. I haven't really like kept up, but I do know KD went off against Serbia.
Yeah,
that was recently.
Man, LeBron.
I don't know what day it was. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, LeBron went well too. So, what are your thoughts on the Olympics so far since it just started? If you have any,
it's fun. It's fun, man, just to watch stuff that you don't normally watch. You know what I mean, and regularly, and to see people and hear people's stories that you never heard of. So it's pretty cool to just watch. And it's like, man, like it's an Olympic. This is like the best of the best. You know what I'm saying, in every sport. So it's fun, man. It's competitive to see, like, you know, table tennis, like real intense. You know what I'm saying, skill. So. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's about it for me. I was interested about the Olympics because it's an international thing. I feel like it's much bigger in like the other countries outside of the United States, like Europe and stuff. Like people really get into it, and I've heard a lot of good and bad things about it being in France. But I won't get too much into the show. But anybody that's watching it, or if you're in Paris at the Olympics, congratulations. You're part of something great. That's history, man. All right. Are you looking for a community? Looking for a brotherhood? Join Ballers Members. Ballers Members is a private group to service athletes. Ballers Members are athletes coming together as men in a brotherhood environment. If brotherhood is something you're looking for, DM Ballers Internationals at BallersINT on Instagram. Okay, now we're going to get into players of the week who've been announced on our social media already, but let's talk a little bit about them in depth. And of course, we'll talk stats, but it's not really about stats. First guy up, offensive player of the week, Moses Harris, running back from the Lohja Crusaders. I'm going to throw out his stats real quick because he has some pretty decent stats. He had 20 attempts, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, 8 receptions, 82 yards, a receiving touchdown. He had 199 all-purpose yards. Now, Q, what were your thoughts on Moses this week, man?
Man, big part of their win, man. He was a big part of the win. You know, they used him in every phase possible, you know what I'm saying, to get this win, and he produced. Anytime you can get receptions and yards and positive yards from your running back, and he's actually giving you rushing yards too to go along with that. Had over 100 yards, you know, and a few touchdowns. So I think he deserved it because his performance really, really helped them get that win.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't want to get too much into like the game. I'm just going to talk about Moses right here first. Is that he he a load, man. Like
Yeah.
I was watching this game, and he has a very aggressive running style, very similar to beast mode, and he never really like takes a play off. Now he might come out the game, but if he's on the field, he runs viciously. He doesn't leave any yards out there to be gained. Like he's not gonna step out of bounds at the last second, or he's not gonna go down if he can get an extra yard, he's gonna get it. And I don't know. Again, I wasn't out there. I'm not a player, but I just felt like he had to like wear the spirit out of that defense. Like I felt like in the fourth quarter, people's making business decisions as soon as he got the ball. They're like, I don't know if I want to do this. And dude got strong legs because they were all still trying to hit him in the legs, and he carrying folks. And he's athletic enough that he can hop over you, so you can't necessarily just dive at his ankles. So you got to grab something and then try to hold on, and he'll kick you off or make a violent move. So I'm not even talking about his stats in this game because I just felt like his presence was what won them the game. Is that as this game wore on, he continued to just punish that other team, and it was just inevitable that he was gonna get his team down the field and help them score. And he did a really great job. So shout out to Moses Harris for a great performance in week 10. Next guy we have is defensive player of the week, number 2/8. For some reason, he was wearing number 8 this week for the Helsinki Roosters. Aku Katanen. Stat-wise, his stats were 6.5 tackles on the day, but we know that he did a lot more than what we saw in the stat book. What are your thoughts on Aku this week, Q?
Big part of the defense, big part of the blitzing package they have too. So he was very, very active and productive. That's the main thing. You can blitz and you can drop back in coverage, but if you're not really producing, then you just dead space. So he was a big part of what the defensive coordinator for the Roosters wanted to do, and that was to send pressure, and that was smart by them. So, but we'll talk about that during the game. But definitely, Aku 6.5 tackles. That's what you want out of your backers and safeties, anybody on the defensive front. So, good game from him.
Yeah, it's one thing about this game that really stood out to me. One, I didn't know he changed his number to 8. I still don't. I don't even understand. But the Roosters have had some jerseys issues this year because I know Mikko Toivonen has worn like 3 jerseys, so I don't know what that's about. But he was wearing number 8, and I was watching the game, and I kept thinking, who the hell is number 8? Because this dude out here making plays. I don't know who this is. And then I saw a glimpse of his little like bandana thing in the back, and it clicked. Oh, that's Aku because he always wears that. I'm like, okay, so now I know who I'm watching at least. And then I realized, like, damn, he is everywhere. And I know his stats. I hate to talk about the stats, but it says he has like 6.5 total tackles. There was a lot of plays where that the other team was like 1 tackle away from like a big play. That was the tackles he was making. He was making open space tackles where if he don't make that tackle, we got a different ball game. And he was making tackles where the other team was trying to, run the ball and get a couple yards. He would end the play where they're, a yard or 2 yards short because his tackle is, someone's holding him up and he would finish that play. And that's what I saw a lot was like he was ending plays for them and keeping them off the field defensively, making sure that they gave the ball back to the offense. So he did a really good job stepping up. I mean, the Roosters defense did a really good job as a total, but I really think like he was kind of the lead component, being able to have so many crucial stops. And then also, like you said, blitz package. I don't know how many, but I saw at least 3 times he hit I don't want to curse, but he hit the quarterback very hard right after he released the ball. So like it wasn't there was one time I thought they were actually going to call like a quarter roughing the passer on him. They didn't. And I was like, I would have thrown it just because it looked like it hurt. And that's how he was all game, like very aggressive. Good to see him playing that position for the Roosters too. Kind of plays that nickel, outside backer, Roman safeties type of spot. So he's able to be in the front seven sometimes, but also does coverage if they need him to. And he did a really good job this week. So shout out to Aku Carlton and being Defensive Player of the Week. All right, let's talk about some of the key player performances from this week. All stats aside, they're players who deserve recognition for their play. Again, we give them 1, 2, or 3 helmet stickers depending on their performance. I don't know if you have any because, it's always tough to get a couple from Q, but do you have anybody that, tickled your fancy?
I'm going to go with the Roosters' whole offensive line.
Really?
I'm going to give all of them stickers, man, because I think their run game was a big part of their win, and they set the tone of the game, and I liked how they were playing, and they were moving guys. You know what I mean? They were getting the yards that they needed to get, and a lot of the openings that Ethan had came from the O-line. They stood out. They've been blocking pretty good all season to me. They haven't been blocking bad every game or anything like that. There's been guys at certain positions that have been stronger than others, but this game, I think as a whole, their performance was good. You know what I mean? But Ethan, I think he had a big part of that game, and it starts with the O-line. So that's why I'm giving all the O-line for the Roosters 2 helmet stickers because I just liked what they did as a whole, and that really sealed a lot of their offense in that game.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, they only threw for 95 yards. They had over 200 yards rushing, though. So they really, leaned on the rush in this game. Let me look at my list here. I got a list of guys. Let me start with the Roosters. Ethan Greenfield, the running back that you mentioned earlier. He had 139 all-purpose yards in this game. He had 4 touchdowns. And he didn't have, I feel like they did a really good job of utilizing both him and Lassie. But when he ran the ball, it was impressive. You saw him break a lot of tackles, use his versatility and his elusiveness in those runs. And when he scored, it was kind of like a momentum builder every time. His scores, you put all 4 of those touchdowns on a highlight tape, you're like, man, he probably ran for 800 yards in that game. Because those runs were dynamic. It wasn't just give him the ball in the 1 or something. He just get in. And like you said, the O-line did pave a way, but I don't know if we keep broken tackle stats up, but I'm pretty sure he had about 20 of them in this game. They could not tackle this man. And there's more to say about the actual game in that aspect, but he gets 3 stars from me. Hell of a performance. And then I'm going to go – I got a couple more guys on here. Let's see. Someone else I'm giving 3 stars to is defensive back from the Lohja Crusaders, Alfonso Munoz. Now, the reason I'm giving Alfonso 3 stars is because I don't know if people know how good he's playing. He's quietly playing very well at the cornerback position, which we all know isn't great in the league this year. And he's one of the guys that can guard the number 1. He might get beat about as much as everybody else, but he's also going to make plays. He's a solid tackler. He got an interception in this game, being in the right place. He got a pick 6, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken. He's the reason they were in this game early because he's a dynamic runner, also a returner. But in this game, he did his job to limit what they could do offensively. And that's why you get 3 stars from me. And then the pick 6 obviously just changed the dynamics of the game. So that's why he got 3 stars because, I love anybody to get a pick 6. Anybody get an interception, but pick 6 is special. And he was special this week. He did a really good job. He's been doing good all season. Just don't know if a lot of people know about him because the thing came on late to Lohja. I don't think he was on the team at the beginning of the season. Do you have anybody else before I keep moving? I got
last but not least, I got one other, and I'm going with the best receiver in the league, and that's Austin Brock. Austin Brock 3 stickers for me. And the reason I gave this to him is because in spite of everything that's going on with their offense right now, Austin Brock is one of the most consistent players in the league. He's one of the most consistent receivers in the league. If you give him the opportunity, most balls I'm gonna say he's gonna catch. And the catch, the first touchdown that he made was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Catch. But he's just one of those people. Like even in the loss, you know, and most of the times he's done something to try to help win a game or made a play when it came down to when making a one. He made it. You know what I mean? So shout out to Austin Brock, man, for the way that he still keep trying to play and keep making plays. Although they going through the quarterback transition, he still showed up.
Yeah, he was on my list too. I was gonna give him 2 stars because, like you said, he showed up even though it seems like, I mean, he's by himself sometimes. But no matter what, if he gets the ball, if you get the ball close to him, he's gonna make plays. He had some tough catches in this game. And you saw him. He just high points the ball. He went and got him. That first touchdown. I'm sorry, he wasn't open. Like that window was small.
Yeah. Quarterback threw it in there. He got it in there.
Yeah. Shout out to the quarterback, Jalen Tragle, for putting it in there and having the faith that he's going to go up and get it. But that's not a ball that most receivers are going to be able to go and get because of where it was placed and the timing. Jalen Bell was right underneath it. Ronnie Lane was right behind him. Like, that's a tight window.
You got to have an arm for that throw.
Yeah.
Because Julie was right there. Like, it could have been easier pick too.
Yeah, like that's not a play you make. And then the quarterback made a hell of a throw. That's the first part. But then normally you don't see someone catch that ball because you're like, it's just too tight. They're not going to be able to get it. Now, Austin Brock not playing around. And then he had that one over the middle where he legitimately got flipped mid-air, which I didn't even know that was possible anymore. I ain't seen nothing like that since the 90s in the NFL. I didn't know you could take hits like that across the middle no more. I was waiting for a flag to be thrown. I know there shouldn't have been one, but I was just waiting for them to throw a flag and be like, it didn't look right. I don't know. The first time someone did an alley-oop in basketball and they blew a whistle. Like, it was like, it just didn't look right. So I'm going to throw a flag. I just thought that was going to happen. But, Austin Brock definitely gets stars. I'm going to go a little bit outside the norm with my next guy because since we already talked about Austin Brock, I'm going to throw out 2 stars to defensive back, cornerback, Ronnie Lane, who was guarding Austin Brock in this game. And I know it sounds counterproductive. Well, how are you going to give stars to the receiver and the DB? I'm sorry, but Ronnie did a hell of a job guarding him. Like, if you watch the game for most of the game, not in the fourth, towards the end of the fourth quarter, he stopped doing it. Ronnie was traveling with Austin Brock. So that lets you know that he had a small amount of targets. I think he still ended up with like 7 receptions, 57 yards, 2 tutties. Red zone is red zone. He made plays. Ronnie, matter of fact, the 2 touchdowns he had, if you look where Ronnie was in both of them plays, the dude wasn't open. And a good ball beats good defense every time. So I'm not faulting Ronnie for not making those plays, but I am giving him props for being that close and that good against what you would arguably say the best receiver in the league. And he did that the whole game. Again, if you look at Austin Brock's stats, he only had like 50 yards receiving. That's a win. I mean, a win is a win. As a matter of fact, they won the game. A win is a win. And a lot of that goes to Ronnie Lane because he traveled. Austin Brock was playing outside and slot. When he went to slot, Ronnie goes to nickel because he's that kind of DB. He can play corner and slot, and he traveled with him, and he played him very well. And it's one of those stats that it won't show up on the stats of how well he played in this game. And if you look at anyone else playing defense against Austin Brock, you're not going to see anybody travel with him and play that well.
Not everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at I think he had a couple of PI calls that were kind of nitpicky, and I think Austin Brock did a great acting job on a couple of those where, it's a little touching and somebody throws up their hands. I ain't mad at you for doing your thing, Austin. But that's how he was playing the whole game against legitimately one of the best receivers in the league. I'm not gonna say he's the best receiver right now because I want to leave some.
I
know. It's not a bad call. I also got to talk about.
We count Alpha as a receiver. It's like I don't count Alpha as a receiver. I count him as like he just do everything. So I don't think of him as a receiver. So you're probably right. Like because if we had to go
that leads me to the next guy we're going to talk about, which is Alpha Jallo, who I'm giving 2 stars to. Because similar to Austin Brock, he had 3 touchdowns. He had 3, and his touchdowns were like when you needed him in the red zone. He only had 23 yards receiving, I think. 3 touchdowns. And when you watch this guy play, you're like, Alpha is doing everything he can to put his team in a position to win. Shout out to Theo Landers and Tom Swosi for getting the ball down there. That's usually how they were moving the ball. And then they got in the red zone, you go to your playmaker, and what does he do? He makes plays. Matter of fact, into the game, what did he do? He caught the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
It's not his fault there was a penalty.
Yeah.
Alpha Jallo did everything he could.
He's supposed to do. Yeah.
Like, you can't do more than that.
That
so my hat go, yeah. And you know, I know Jallo personally. That after seeing that game, that's one of the games where, you know, usually if you know somebody and you see him play in the game, you might, you know, rib him a little bit, be like, yeah, I ain't get it this time. I ain't saying nothing to that man after that game. Like, you did everything you were supposed to do. And just, I mean, if the team can't come through for you, the team can't come through for you. But man, like, he had a hell of a game.
If any touchdown should have been if any touchdown should have happened, it should have been that one.
yeah, like, oh man, like that's how you want to end the game.
Refs gonna mess up on that one right there.
Yeah, like, let that one go.
Game winner, like mess up on that one. But
man,
no, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, hell of a game. I'm gonna throw out a couple of names before I get out of here. I got a couple 2 stars. 2-star I want to give to Tyron Dixon, defensive lineman from Lohja Crusaders. He had 3 tackles on the day, but again, in his game, what I noticed was that he created so much pressure. It was at some points it was counterintuitive because no one else on the D line was getting to the quarterback as fast as him. So he created lanes. And that's when what is the dude name? The quarterback name? I already forgot it. That's when Landers would have time to have those runs. Like if you check the film, every time he stepped up, it was because Tyron Dixon was in his face and no one else filled the gap. So he would just step up and then take off, and then, you know, again, if it's just you there's nothing you could do. But again, he was creating pressure and he was winning his matchup every time. So I'm just giving him 2 stars because obviously it needs to be said that he's playing a hell of a game for them. And at some points he was able to get to the quarterback. I don't think he got any sacks in this one, but I think he ended up helping a couple of other guys get sacks in this game because of his pressure. He makes the quarterback move, someone else supposed to come in there. And that's pretty much all they were missing up front, is if they had another like pass rusher like him, Theo Landers probably wouldn't even had as good of a game that he had rushing, because he had a lot of runs that legitimately came from Tyron Dixon pushing him to his teammates who he thought were there, but they weren't. And, you know, it is what it is. They still got to win. A win is a win. Another guy I want to give stars to is Lassi Partanen, the other running back from the Helsinki Roosters, the young gunner. He had 98 yards rushing, 112 all-purpose. He was the complement to Ethan Greenfield. In my opinion, he did more of the in-between the 40s work out of the two. I feel like Ethan Greenfield kind of got it when they got closer to the scoring part. But Lassi really stepped up as that, like, hey, you can give me the ball anytime as well. I'm that type of guy. So he had a really good game, and them two together, that's how the Roosters won. We already talked about that, but I guess we'll talk about it more later when we get into the actual games. And then I got 2 guys I want to give 1 stars to. One of my 1 stars goes to Karim Limam, defensive back from the Wausau Royals. Okay. And the reason he gets a star for me is he also had he was playing cornerback, had a tough matchup trying to play against Oscar Isua and Niemi, and he held his own. Again, not like dominant. It wasn't like he got picks and a whole bunch of PBUs, but it was a lot of plays where he's close to the receiver catches the ball, he makes a tackle right away. That's all you can really ask for sometimes when these receivers, they know what route they're running. Cornerback, you don't know what route they're running. Quarterback is throwing a dime, it's on time, and you get there and make the plays and you hold them. We've seen Oscar Suonemi destroy DBs, and to be able to hold him and keep the game tight, that's something that's commendable to me. So you get a star from me. I see you out there working. Damn it, I want to get your name right. Kareem. I think it's Kareem or Kareem. Kareem. It's got to be Kareem, right? It's Reim.
Yeah.
And they pronounce it E here. So Kareem. Yeah. Good job, Kareem. I see you out there. And last star, Oxley Olin, kicker from the Roosters, because they missed one extra point. And they're like, okay, we're bringing in 23. We're not messing around. We're not messing around. We know who we go to. And this got nothing to do with this, but there's two guys. Oxley Olin and Mikko Seppänen. I don't care what y'all got going. If you really just need somebody to be a consistent kicker / punter, these two dudes it. And actually, he here for that. He was like, look, the young kid, he was a little shaky. That dude missed one extra point. And next thing you know, all you saw was 23, all kicking duties. Kickoff, punt,
Olin got to have some field goal records or something in Finland by now, man.
I mean, he's made enough. Yeah. Which also reminds me, whoever's doing the stats on the website for SHAL and Vatra Amalia, we don't have any kicking stats on there. I don't know what anyone's kicking stats are. They have punting, but they don't have like field goals or extra points on the stats. So, and also anybody that's listening and watching, if you know where I can find those stats, let me know, because it would be nice. Yeah. But yeah, that's helmet stickers. I think that was decent. All right, we all know the results last weekend's games, but let's get into it. Which teams won or lost their game? First game, Porvoo Butchers versus Helsinki Wolverines. Q, who won or lost this one?
Porvoo Butchers won this game fair and square, like I always say. They came in, took care of business, man, running the ball, throwing the ball. Like I said last week, the Butchers are the team right now that's on their they're on the rise as far as showing up to games early in the games now. No more second half, trying to figure it out in the second half type of thing. I think they're showing up in the first parts of these games. They're getting the ball out to all their playmakers, Mikko Seppänen. All of those guys now are into that zone now, and you can see it. You can see it on film. Like, yeah, it doesn't look pretty all the time, but now with Mickey running the ball, Cofield getting the ball, everybody's starting to touch the ball now. So now it's the offense is starting to look like it need to, in order for them to do what they want to do, in the rest of the season. So the Butchers definitely won the game. They balled out, man, like it was the Wolverines. Like, it's not like we thought they were going to lose or it was going to be a close game, but they came in, took care of business, and got the W.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They got the win. They deserve it. I watched the first quarter. It was 21-0. I turned that shit off because I don't have time for all that bad football. But yeah, I mean, they're looking good right now. I'm skeptical, as I always am. And I'm looking back at their record and I'm like, oh, who they've been playing? Are they really winning games? They are on a 5-game win streak. But again, I'm just gonna throw this out there. In that 5-game win streak, they have beaten the Crusaders, the Wolverines, the Wolverines. They beat both of them teams twice. But they also beat the Steelers during that stretch in the middle. Yeah. So they won 5 games, but again, I wish Chris was here because I think he's the one that told us about their streak. Yeah, it's a good streak, but that's really good timing that in a month period you get to play the two teams that you should beat. And this is when they're getting their stats up. So it is what it is. But they won this game for sure. And once we start talking about the next games, we'll get into that. So congratulations to them. Next game, Helsinki Roosters versus Kuopio Steelers. How do you feel about this one, Q? Who won or lost it?
I mean, I think we all picked the Roosters to win. I didn't expect much offensively from the Steelers. I knew they were going to try to get the running game going, but you got a new quarterback that just got in. He probably only has a few practices with the team, so your outcome is kind of like just hopeful that you'll some kind of way get out of here with a win, or much less the offense get to clicking that fast. It just doesn't work like that. So I think they're going to be all right though. Once the quarterback settles in and get a little more time with the receivers in the offense, I think they're going to be all right because he had a cannon, but it was just the wrong game to play the Roosters, man. It was the wrong game to play the Roosters. I like what the Roosters did defensively. They brought a lot of pressure to a quarterback that had just got there, and I would have did the same thing. So that was a great job from the coach. You don't give a guy who doesn't really know the offense like that, you don't give him a lot of time. You make him make decisions fast, and that's what they did. They sent 4, 5, 6 people sometimes on blitzes, and it worked. It got him, antsy. He went to moving around, and at that point, that's what you want for a new quarterback. You want him to try to figure out something. So the Roosters defense played great. Offense, running game was good, and it worked out for them. So unfortunately, the Steelers, going through what they're going through with the quarterback change, they just ran into the wrong team, man. And the Roosters now got another W and look a lot better on defense this game. So Roosters definitely won.
I want to say the Steelers lost. I really want to. I want to. Well, I feel like it would be a little too disrespectful because I agree. The Roosters look like the much better team. I liked how they was playing defensively. I agree with you. Like defensively, it was crazy. One thing that I noticed, I was watching the game again. When I'm watching the game, I'm mostly just looking at numbers. I was like, how many players do they have? Because I feel like they just rotating people on the D line. And I sat here and wrote down all the numbers I saw. So I don't know how many I think they do like a 4D down lineman, right? They were like a 4-2-5 situation or a nickel package. Okay. I saw number 3, number 98, number 76, number 92, number 78, number 93. That's on number 24 come in. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. As this game wore on, you could see that that Steelers O-line, they was struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm still a firm believer they have a very good offensive line. I feel like you have Weber, Mahali, Makinen, and even Kusala, number 71, I think they're all decent. I don't know the fifth guy's name, no offense to him, but he's okay. He's not bad. They don't have any bad linemen. But I feel like in this game, they all were getting worked. I see each one of them getting worked at certain times by different players. And not to say that, that they just weren't good players. I just feel like they physically, if you're getting somebody's best shot every time and you've been playing the whole game, you haven't been coming out. Every time you get on the field, you get a guy 2 plays, okay, I got a little bit into him, they bring in somebody fresh.
Yeah, they got a hell of a rotation right now.
Who does something?
A lot of linemen coming in playing. So
I just named 7 guys.
Yeah, they got a lot coming in.
I'm not. Yeah, and besides the number 24, and there's also a number 36 or 39 that plays sometimes. The number 24 is probably the only one that wasn't religiously getting in the game until the end. Everyone else, those other 6 were rotating, and then you have the ends. Number 3, Oltonen, 98, Velocity. They were switching sides, so both of the tackles were getting a piece of them every once in a while. And
they didn't even have Malik. They didn't even have him.
So. You know what I'm saying? They're still probably missing another 2 guys, and that's not to mention that in addition to having all these D linemen come at you, Matt Barrett, Yohani Kovamaki, and Aku Katanen are blitzing off the edge. They coming. So that's another person, and that's a little faster person sometimes, but they're doing stunts with them as well, and they're all in the run game. They're all putting in they all have run fits, so that's a lot of bodies coming at you, and a lot of times they're a little bit fresher. The linebackers I was in, they're not in the trenches every play. When they decide to blitz, they're full go. They're able to do it. So that's just a lot, and I don't know where the Roosters get all these players from. How y'all get so many players? Every time we turn around, Roosters players are retiring. Yet I look up there and they got 85 players on the field. I'm like, what's going on? And that's not even to mention the DBs they have. Those guys are rotating too. They got like 8 DBs out there. I didn't count those guys, but because I feel like they didn't have as tough a job in this one. But it was really good to see the Roosters defense basically be dominant to me. And then on the flip side in this game, this is why I want to say that the Steelers lost. They couldn't tackle nobody.
Yeah, they played bad.
And I give credit to Ethan Greenfield and Lassie Pioneer for being great runners. But, boy, when I say the amount of tackles where if you just wrap up or if you hit and follow through with your legs, you could see in this game, and this is one thing that kind of went in my mind when I was watching it, was I felt like the Roosters were a physical team, and the Steelers haven't seen that yet. A lot of their first of all, they have mostly DBs on the field for the Steelers. It's a lot of DBs. They have Lars Steffen plays kind of like an outside linebacker type, but he's really a DB. And then even when they bring in Roy Campy, he's a linebacker now, but he's originally a DB, and you can look at his body type and tell. Only Carlton Marshall kind of fits the role of an actual linebacker. And in this game, that's what you needed was linebackers. And they didn't have any. So they had all these DBs. I seen what is number 24, the choke brother, Jonah. I seen him miss this is obviously I'm embellishing, but I've seen him miss a lot of tackles. I want to say like 8. But I've seen him miss a lot of tackles where he went in there, did what he thought was a hit stick, and Ethan Greenfield and Lassie Potter kept moving their legs. Mm-hmm. And that's how it went. Same thing for Tino and Dongo throwing his body into there and not making a tackle. If you throw your body, you got to make the tackle. Mm-hmm. These Steelers guys throwing their bodies, not making tackles, and then missing tackles in limited space. I've seen a lot of tackles where the first touchdown I think that Ethan Greenfield had where you're like, how did he even get out of that? He was surrounded by Steelers, yet they all took the bad angle and missed him in less than a 3-yard spot. That's a phone booth. You should be able to make a tackle in the phone booth, and they're missing those tackles. So I was really disappointed in how bad they're playing, but it plays into what I said beforehand. Steelers lost their mojo. That's 3 games in a row, and the defense is getting worse. That's the thing that I'm really focusing on. I know the mojo, I could be wrong about the actual mojo, but their defense is progressively getting worse throughout the season as they play against more teams who've seen them before, I guess, if that makes sense. Like earlier in the season, they obviously had easier teams to play, but now that we have film on them, the Roosters said, hey, we're going to out-physical you. They were putting Ville Velasquez at tight end in this game. They said, we're going to line up, run the ball on you, and what did the Steelers do to combat that? Nothing. We're still going to have 5 DBs on the field, or 6 DBs if you count that outside linebacker. And the Roosters said, we're going to run the ball, go heavy, put in bodies, and there's nothing you could do. I actually watched this game twice.
This was a test of will, man. You know, it was like a test of will. The Roosters decided that they're going to have to tackle. They're going to, they watch film. They're going to see that they're going to have to tackle. We got DBs in the game. They're going to have to tackle. And the Roosters won that battle. As simple as that. Yeah. That's just how the game goes. Like, do
you think it's a team or is this a coaching thing again? As the season progresses and the film is out, that's what I feel like. The film is out.
Also, the lack of offense will deteriorate your defense, though. It will put them in some situations where already, let's say, you've already been bailed out because you were such a scoring high offense, right? So we didn't get to see you with the leaks that we get to see now. You can watch.
Let me still say what I said last week. They were scoring 28 points. They weren't high flying like we said. They were high flying those first 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the first 2 weeks, and okay,
when they were scoring 28 points, they were shutting teams down to like 10 or 14 points. Like their defense was holding, and now their defense is giving up what their offense was scoring. So you would think that, okay, if their offense is able to score, we'd be looking at 28-28 games, but instead we're looking at, 28-14 the other way. And that's what I'm saying is that even though the offense is
– I don't think they're built defensive heavy, obviously not defense heavy. They do have defensive imports and stuff, but there are positions in secondary that are liabilities at certain points of the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just if you give those receivers that you're playing against, and the Maple League has a lot of good receivers. So if you have DBs that you're putting in position to where they have to be one-on-one with certain receivers, and you have to be real with yourself, like, okay, this is my best option at corner, and I have to play him, then you need to expect to get beat. It's as simple as that. Like, you can watch the film. It's not like we make this stuff up. You can watch the film and see who got beat on what. Was the safety supposed to be there, or was the corner there? What's
impressive is the Roosters, they didn't even beat them with the pass. They ran.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
we forgot all about the run because we just assumed.
It's but I mean, the other teams that have been beating them, the last 3 games, they've been beating them passing.
Yeah, a couple big plays here and there.
Passing TDs. So it's like you have to either live with it or you have to figure out a way to not put your DBs in that position to where they have to cover for a long time or they have to cover these good receivers one-on-one. And right now, Corpio is just in a sucky position because the quarterback transitioning and you don't have the offense that you wanted to have. Yeah, you could say if they lost the mojo. I don't want to say they lost the mojo because they could easily go on a run these next few games and 2. You know what I mean? That's just football. But right now, they don't look like the number 1 team that we thought they were going to be. They don't look like the number 1 team right now. That has been passed on to somebody else. So now Scorpio is in a state of, okay, you don't want to get worse. Obviously, at the end of the season, you don't want to get worse. But what you want to do is gear up for the playoffs or gear up for these next games that you need to win. And I don't think they're going to win them because I think they only really probably have 1 hard game in the next few games. So I think they're going to win those games. But this was just a bad day for them.
They need a linebacker, man. That's what I think. I think that's going to be the only thing that's going. Well, they won't need one until the playoffs.
They need a safety. Slater. Somebody call Slater.
A safety that can tackle would be helpful, I guess.
Somebody call Slater. That's all they
missing. What?
They only missing one player that can for sure tackle in the open field and that can help you cover. That can help you stay over the top and cover. They need a safety. That's what they need, a safety. I know they love the guys that they got there, but they need a safety, a leader in the secondary because they don't have one at all. They don't have one. And I don't mean a guy that's the dude who's saying 1, 2, 3 DBs. I'm not talking about that leader. I'm talking about the on the field leader, the one that actually makes the plays. You know what I mean? The one that's consistently making plays to where everybody else knows this is the standard that we need on the secondary. We got to tackle. So I'm saying that guy, but I don't think that's what I'm saying.
I feel like that's what Lars Steffen is, but they got him playing linebacker instead of safety. So like that's what I'm saying. Like if they had that actual like outside linebacker guy, or they wouldn't need him to be doing that because they basically rolled him down now. And the safeties they have aren't bad. I like
they're not bad, but you got to have safeties that's going to help your corners. If you know your corners aren't that strong, you cannot play your safeties aggressive. You can't play both of them aggressively. You can't have them locked in on slot receivers and helping out the linebackers. Like you have to say, all right, well, I know this corner right here is just not that good on the deep ball. All right, well, you're gonna have to stay on top of him in certain situations, 3rd and long, stuff like that. You're gonna stay on top of him. You can't give them the opportunity to be one-on-one with him when your offense isn't really scoring right now. So
let me ask you this, because and again, we just waking up time, but so there's 3 teams that are going to be playing. The playoffs are already set, so I mean we're just jumping a little ahead. You got Crocs, Roosters, Butchers. The Steelers secondary doesn't necessarily match up with either of those teams. And the Roosters just beat them without really passing. So, I mean, how would you feel at this point in the season, knowing that, playoffs is pretty much all you get ready for now, and you have to figure out a way to beat one of those three teams? Which one of those three teams is most likely to not be successful offensively against the Steelers?
Yeah, no, that's a different story right there. The only team that I can say
who can they stop, I guess, is the question. Who could they stop?
I think the Steelers can stop. I don't like to go. Like, we're talking hypothetically, right?
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. We're not gonna hold you to this. Not gonna hold you.
Hypothetically, without the Roosters, it's not the Roosters and it's not the Butchers. So it only leaves one team. And, and the reason I say that is because the Crocs will run the ball. So they'll give you the opportunity to stay in the game because they'll Christian Powell you. You know what I mean? So I feel like as long as they're not running, as long as Christian Europe is not running around throwing the ball, the Steelers will have a chance against them. Because
that's exactly what he did last time they played.
No, yeah, he did, but
he threw it just enough that they were able to.
They was able to come back and with some help they won the game. But I would rather if right now
you'd rather be that. Yeah.
I would rather play the Crocs if I was the Steelers, given my certain situation, like how we look at the team right now. I would rather play the Crocs.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know. It was just something that crossed my mind. Let's get to the next game. All right, last game, win or loss, Wausau Royals versus Lohja Crusaders. I think this is easy, but you tell me who won or lost this game.
Ooh, Royals lost, man.
Easy.
Royals lost this game, man. Even though the Crusaders won, the Royals lost this game, man. They had every opportunity in the world to finish this game off. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, almost, except not get a penalty on that. Now, and I know you say, like, man, the quarterback got to get the ball out, but it's just football, man. And I seen it was a holding call. Like I couldn't see his left hand on the other side, but I'm sure the refs could. But it looked like it was probably holding. And just seeing the ball drop in Alpha's hand, and you like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's to get it taken away from him like that. But either way, the Royals, all they needed was a stop or two in this game. But it was just so back and forth. Like it was a great game to watch to me. Like I like watching the game because I was like, man, this is real gritty, but like in a we don't have the best players possible at every position. So the guys that are gonna make a difference in this game are gonna make those plays. And like the plays were getting made, and it came down to it, and the Crusaders won. But I think the Royals lost this game though. Like they gave them the game pretty much.
I agree with you 100%. And I think the reason they lost the game was because again, I don't want to say too many bad things about the Royals because I feel like I've not said anything good about this team this year. But I don't know who told them that they had other players on the team. Like I don't know who got it in their mind that they should, throw the ball to these other guys and do all this extra stuff. And all it did was delay the inevitable, which was a whole bunch of Moses hairs down your goddamn throat. And that's just how it went. Now, I said it earlier when we were talking about the Steelers, but this is a fact. They needed a linebacker. They didn't have they just needed a linebacker because they were hitting it. They had a lot of bodies on Moses Harris every play, and it didn't do nothing. He still got them 4 yards or 3.5. Like they was not like those little DBs just were not enough. They tried so hard. Like I don't think that the Crusaders did anything special. The pick six, I think that was great momentum and kept them in the game. That's probably the difference in the game is that they turned that into 6 points right away. But they gave the Royals every opportunity to put them away. And offensively, the Royals, I think they got too cheeky, trying to do stuff that doesn't make sense. Give it to 40, give it to 8, let 9 run, and you're good. They start throwing it to these other numbers. What is it, 17, 18, all these other numbers getting the ball, which is good for them. You know, you caught 2 passes this season. That's great, but that ain't going to get you to win. And you needed this win to keep your playoff hopes alive. Now your season's over and you still got 4 weeks left. Yeah, that defense, I mean, you were winning. They got outscored 20-7 in the fourth quarter. And again, it wasn't like the Crusaders lined up and just started, you know, airing the ball out. It was a heavy dose of Moses Harris against a team that had your starting linebacker, Prince Lolar. He's not in the game. I'm assuming he's injured. I hope he's injured because other than that, he might as well go home because, I mean, he ain't got no more games worth nothing. And then, you know, the young outside linebacker, he's out there playing in NFL Academy or something, so you don't have him. Lamin Latica, back hurt. I think he's injured again or re-injured himself or something. So you got none of your, like, legitimate starting linebackers coming in. We said before the season, man, they got a lot of linebackers. And yet we are week 10 of the season, they have no linebackers, and it hurt them. All you needed was somebody that could hit Moses Harris as hard as he hits you. And none of those DBs were going to do it. Nobody. And I knew the game. I knew the Royals were going to lose when in the fourth quarter, I saw Alpha go to defense. I was
like, why is this happening?
I was like, I knew it was over. I was like, no, apparently they just assumed that him playing defense was going to help. And it didn't even help because when he went over there, what they do? Gave it to Moses Harris to get down the field. Like,
down the field, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not a coach. I'm not coaching these teams. Obviously, I'm not in the room, but I could tell you the best player for that team and what makes that offense go. A running back that runs hard. Like, he's not a scat back. You need somebody that can come in there, hit him one time, make him go the other way. Nobody on the defense can do that. I mean, Alpha can go out there. Alpha can hit somebody as hard as he wants to. I don't care. That don't make Alpha 230, 240 pounds. He's easily, what 190, 195? Mm-hmm. He's very muscular and very strong, but he's not going to have the weight you need to hit somebody like Moses Harris, who easily is 225, 230.
Yeah, they do.
Running very fast. They got a lot of velocity. And I just feel like the Royals really just – I didn't see any adjustment to try to win. I feel like they were – I mean, even at the end of the game, you knew Alpha was getting the ball.
Yeah.
And a matter of fact, after he scored a touchdown, what they do? They ran a screen to him. A screen. Just to make sure he got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Too late now. Could have done the screen 8 times earlier in the game.
Yep.
To number 17, 18, and 45 or whatever, all the other numbers. And I just felt like the Royals just it's sad. It's sad. You know? Well, it's going to be very weird to talk about the next month of football knowing that the Royals are not making the playoffs.
Seppo always used to give us a chance, boy.
Yeah, we usually always had something to talk about with the Royals going towards the end of the season, and now it's just.
And it was a must win for them. That was the thing. It was a must win for them too. But shout out to Jason and them. Shout out to Jason and Rojo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all got that W, man. Hey,
a win is a win.
That's what it's about, man. You lose so much, and you lose like some games close and some games bad, man. But then when you finally get that win, boy, it's like, whew, we did it, bro. We champions. It almost feels like you're a champion when you win. When you get
hey, one win.
One win, boy. After you've been getting beat and losing, so you know what I mean. I know. Shout out to Jason, them man, for real. The Crusaders, y'all got it done though, but the Royals.
So that one win, that's that little Giants mentality. Yeah, one time. All you have to do is win that one time. That's all it takes.
As a team, one time we play as a team, we'll win. And they won, man.
But yeah. Congratulations to Crusaders. I do think they played hard. They played well. Got a lot of good players out there as well. I want to say more nice things about the Crusaders, but all I can think is, man, Alpha played his heart out.
Yeah, he did.
Alpha played a hell of a game. He did everything his team needed him to do, and just wasn't enough. Poor guys. Oh well. On to the next.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Any last words before we get out of here, Q?
Oh yeah, man. I didn't know. I know we haven't talked about them a lot this year, but I wanted to say shout out to the Scorpio Steelers girls. Is the girls football team or is it somebody 8-0?
That ain't them. That's the Tampa Saints.
No. Hold on, brother. I just seen somebody 8-0, man.
It's
I
not
I seen it on IG, man. Don't
you talking about
like that. Somebody's girls team is 8-0.
Oh, I know the Tampa Saints went undefeated. The women's team did. I know that for a fact. But I don't know what.
And I thought it was
Scorpio
Steelers women's.
Well, Scorpio Steelers women, they're not in the top division, so they could be 8-0 also.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You killed my vibe, man.
My
I was
bad.
trying to check them out, man, because they was 8-0. But it's one player I follow on IG. I don't know if I really know how to say her name, but it's like Annie Puginen, something like that. Annie Puginen. She be posting her highlights a lot, man. That girl, I like their team though. I don't know, I haven't researched and see who they play and all of that, but I know they 8-0, and I think it's the Scorpio Steelers girl. So shout out to them, man.
Yeah, they're like Division 1 though. Like it's not the top league. That's why I was like, hold on, because I keep up with the top league.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. My bad.
Yeah,
because I just didn't want there to be confusion. Because I talked to someone recently. Yeah. I ain't gonna speak on no women's thing. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I was gonna say something, but my wife is in the next room. So yeah, we out of here. Last week is over, so you can catch us talking about the upcoming week of games tomorrow on the AFF podcast, or actually today. We probably put up 2 episodes same day. I think that's how we've been doing it. So subscribe, follow, like, and share on all social channels at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget
TIF.
We gone.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't mean